Hello everyone, welcome back to Believers IAS Academy, Bengaluru. This is GS 400 plus series for Mains 2025. Today we will be discussing important committees which can be used in your mains answers. And in today's video we will be discussing committees which are important for UPSC GS1. I have segregated based on GS1. Today we will be discussing two topics. One is women and the other is marginalized communities. Okay. So here I will be discussing important committees and the context in which they are brought in and the recommendations which you can use in your way forward. So without any delay, we'll start with women and gender equality. The first thing is about women reservation bill. First we'll discuss about women reservation bill. The context is mandates 33% reservation for women in Lok Sabha and State Assembly. The key recommendations are 33% reservation across general, SC and ST constituencies. Implementation post census and delimitation applies for 15 years with the state ratification needed. So usage is which will help in political empowerment and constitutional reform. And second is standing committee on NCW functioning, National Commission of Women functioning, and a standing committee which was recently released in 2023. Context is evaluated national and state commissions for women, and the key recommendations are strengthen NCW's independence and accountability, fund and empower state women commissions, and enhance police accountability in gender justice. Very important. Standing committee on NCW. Next is displaced women and children committee, Manipur. So first we will discuss the very recent and relevant committees, and then we will go back to the classic committees. Displaced women and children committee. This you can use in your internal security as well. How you can connect internal security with women empowerment. This is especially with respect to Manipur. The context, it was set up post ethnic violence in Manipur. The key recommendations are ensure rights and protection of displaced women and children, gender sensitive aid and trauma support is provided, transparent rehabilitation monitoring will be done, and conflict usage is in conflict management when vulnerable groups and displacement. Very important committee, displaced women and children committee in context of Manipur 2025. Next is with respect to women and gender equality, the classic committees which have been there from the beginning. And one of the best committee in this regard was Justice J.S. Verma Committee 2013. Context is post Nirbhaya case legal reforms. Three important key recommendations are criminalize marital rape. Very important. Whenever there will be discussions about marital rape, you can quote this Justice Verma Committee which focused on criminalizing marital rape. Amend APSPA for civil trial in sexual violence. Okay. APSPA legislation is majorly used in northeastern states in which the personals or armed personals in APSPA are provided with a lot of indemnities. Okay, they are provided lots of discretion. However, this committee said that even in APSPA, if there is sexual violence happening under the APSPA guide, then they has to be treated according to the sexual violence trial in civil trial. So that has to be amended with respect to APSPA. Police accountability and gender sensitization, where you can use this in criminal justice reforms and gender safety. Okay. Next is High Level Committee on Status of Women 2015. It assessed women's status post 1974 report, and its recommendations were implement gender budgeting across ministries, account for unpaid care work in GDP, reform personal laws for equality. Okay, so this reform personal law for equality, this you can use in context of uniform civil code. Whenever there is a question on uniform civil code, and if you want to rate in favor of uniform civil code, you can quote this High Level Committee on Status of Women 2015 as one of your arguments in favor of UCC. Okay, so you can also use this in gender budgeting and legal reforms. Next is Justice Indu Malhotra Committee 24-21. It reviewed Sabarimala temple intercase. The key recommendations were protect Article 26, that is the religious rights, and respects customs unless unconstitutional, and avoid force entry policies. Okay, very important. Justice Indu Malhotra with respect to Sabarimala, when people wanted to forcefully enter into the temple against the customs of the Sabarimala temple, where women in the menstrual age of 16 to 59 were not allowed inside the temple. Next, in respect to marginalized communities for SC, ST and OBC. First is Mandal Commission in 1980. Context is it recommended OBC reservation, and the key recommendations were 27% reservation in central jobs, educational and economic welfare of OBCs, reservation in promotions. Usage, affirmative action and social justice. Mandal Commission, you might already have studied in this in polity. I will bring this again in the polity when we are discussing GS2. There I will be covering this in detail. We'll cover this in a very detailed way. Now we'll just keep it to how we can use in your GS1 answer. Next is Kaka committee, not Zaksa committee. It is Kaka committee. Its context is it studied tribal welfare. Students of anthropology will study Kaka committee in very deep depth, but here we don't need so much of depth. What we need is key recommendations is with respect to tribal welfare. Mother tongue education should be provided. BIASA and Forest State Act should be strengthened and implemented properly, not just in letter but in spirit, and no displacement without consent. Very important recommendations. Normally, due to developmental activities such as industry, such as dams, such as national park, etc., the tribals are often displaced. So, displacement should be with consent only. Now, there can be no displacement without the consent based on Kaka committee report. Usage in tribal rights, education and displacement. Next is Bhuria committee of 1995. It dealt with Panchayati Raj in scheduled areas. Okay, 5th schedule of Indian Constitution talks about scheduled areas. Okay, so this Bhuria committee deals with explaining or expanding the Panchayati Raj system into scheduled areas. Key recommendations, it recommended PESA Act, Panchayat Extension into Scheduled Areas Act. Based on this recommendation, we brought Panchayat PESA Act. According to this, Panchayat was expanded to 6th schedule with certain modifications which are in line with customs of the scheduled areas. Scheduled areas are the areas which have large tribal population. Okay, so in according to the tribal customs, tribal welfare, tribal marriage, etc., the PESA Act was implemented. Grama Sabha to have control over the resources, and tribal panchayat empowerment should be the way forward. So this you can use in Bhuria committee. Use Bhuria committee with respect to tribal welfare or PESA and scheduled areas. Usage is with respect to decentralization and tribal self-rule. Next is national integration and communal harmony. One of the important committee with respect to national integration is Rajinder Sachar committee of 2006. Context is with respect to status of Indian Muslims. Key recommendation, Equal Opportunity Commission, Diversity Index in hiring, improve Muslims access to education and banking. So you can use this in protection of minority rights. Especially in this case, the minority in contention here is Muslims. It focused on providing equal opportunity and also diversity in hiring of jobs and also access to education. So minority rights and inclusive policy. Next is Ranganath Mishra Commission of 2007. Religious minorities backwardness is the context here. Key recommendation was SC status to Dalit Muslims and Christians, very important. 10% reservation for minorities, and National Data Bank creation was also created. National Data Bank was created under Ranganath Mishra Commission. So usage is in minority reservation and data policy. Next is Sri Krishna Committee on Telangana. So it was related to Telangana statehood issue. Hyderabad as joint capital, institutional framework for development, considers multiple statehood options, and federalism, conflict resolution. Okay, so not very relevant now, but I just use this because it is related to GS1. Okay, so these are important committees in GS1 with respect to women and other things. You might be thinking there are many committees which can be used in women and other things. That will be, I will be covering them in social issues in GS2. In here, these are the important committees which I have to discuss with respect to women. In the GS1, there will be second part, okay, where we will be discussing rest of the committees which will cover art and architecture, sorry, not art and culture, not architecture, art and culture, and any committees with respect to geography if possible, and other committees in recent years with respect to Indian society. All these things will be covered in the next video, and after that I will be covering GS2, and all the committees with respect to GS2 will be in one single video. okay, in one single video. So in GS2 they will be covering topics with respect to polity, governance and social issues. All these things will be covered, and then again similarly following to GS3, and we'll also see if there is any committees that can be used in GS4 answers as well. So this is how we are going to commit or continue the series. So this ends our discussion for the day. If you like the video, then please hit the like button, comment on it, and also share with your friends. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe to the channel and click on the bell icon so that you don't miss any notification. And also all the best to the students who are writing the mains in 2025. By this I will end the video. Jai Hind.